morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk.
Morning, P. How's your week?
Very, very good. Just kind of expected to get a pretty good start to the year, just with how things were setting up. But just couple really massive ones for me. That RZLV being the biggest, and then something that came on my radar, just after their earnings. That RPM might be talking about that one with you in the next session at some point. But yeah, just really solid. I think, like, for me, the having the structure of the trades planned out, making that as automatic as possible has helped. Something we talked about in the year end session. So yeah, really good for me. Took some wins and then have some left.
All right, so as far as the trading goes, man, the main account this week was it, boss. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff, long term, had a really good week for the most part, and a lot of the stuff that I was making sure I got to this side of the year just for tax purposes, I'm having to manage it again. I mean, like I can run some names for you, but like Dollar General, that Hawaiian Electric play, Nat, Victoria's Secret, Yeti, Rocket Mortgage. Just the free stuff. Like it's like, oh, I was just gonna sell this when I could, and just have to manage that now. As far as the trade goes, kind of worked on drones a little bit last week. Um, had that good volume Monday, Tuesday, kind of leaked out a little bit Thursday, Friday, but even the down chart days, they're not really down chart days right now. It's real hard to say 3-2 market. Um,
Yeah.
but man, for me, I mean, short and sweet here. It was hard to be active when you just watch that other account roll up like that. Um, you just kind of
Right.
hang out. I mean, those. I always tell people take that 43.17 if you got to close a trade and you're taking $40, whatever, it's a dub. Well, when the other accounts are moving like that, that's a psychological nightmare. So, not sat on my hands, but definitely just picked my spots last week. I know I have time. Um, kind of moved the conversation a little bit. It felt like 2025 started off where the news cycle on Monday wasn't the news cycle on Friday. And I remember that being
Yeah.
pretty prevalent, into probably July last year, where just every single it was tariff related, but just you're getting a lot of news, you're getting a lot of development, a lot of stuff coming at you, and separating the good from the bad, not getting caught up on a single story, is something I think we're gonna be walking into in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
But there'll be some big fish out of those stories. I mean, just like Venezuela, right? Everyone's talking oil on Monday. By Friday, we're not even there. So, uh,
Right. Yeah. Well, the reality of um, oil investment down there and everything that I mean, Chevron's the one that's already there, and then some of them, Exxon had some hesitant comments about it being kind of uninvestable down there. And well, I mean, what they're really doing is you socialize the risk and privatize the gains. You get the government to guarantee your investment down there, and then
yeah,
you make the profit off of it. Government gets covered on their end for sure too, but that takes that takes time. And I think what it one thing that it does, and I could just kind of see it in the flow that the South America more broadly, you know, wakes up a bit, and there were some setups and some things down there, but overall, you're still, um, Argentina is probably still the best one, but yeah, I definitely will say that with oil like that, you want to already be positioned to where you get the big, pump on those things. Like it's you're gonna get 5-7% on you know Oxy and Chevron and Cop and all those. Like you're gonna sell into that move a bit, and then it's gonna pull back, and the broader setup is still just fine.
yeah. My short term winner there, not to stay on Venezuela or anything, but my short term or what looked good to me, because you got to kind of break down the thesis and then kind of do the how long is this project going to take. Was the Goodyear the tire, because there are, I mean,
Yeah.
the factory's there and everything, and just cutting out the shipping costs, being able to probably not have as many regulations, cheaper
Right.
material, and all that stuff. It just made sense for them to get an instant bump. And I mean, you really, as a trader, an investor, or whatever you are, your number one goal is to understand whatever you're investing in, how much and how much more market share can it get. I mean, that's the whole game. It's selling shit to
Yeah.
people and selling shit to more people,
Right.
more than when you got there. So like trying to understand, I've picked that up from you a little more, or have focused on learning that a little more, because your stories are so long, and we have seen some stories that get the what'd you call it last week, the mania, I think, um,
Yeah.
and then just go into that, um, the second word you said. um,
Yeah.
I forgot what it was, but yeah, where they dissect the stocks, basically, they scrutiny, I
Yeah.
think, is what it was.
Right. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, and then I mean, I've just seen that over and over again. So understanding that, I like to keep it more with shit words I can spell, and I can spell rubber hits the road. I can spell that, so I go with that. But that's what I've
Yeah.
always looked for, and it helped in that, because you just looked at. I posted the article. It had Kellogg in there, had all the oil, had a lot of oil companies in there, a couple of the defense guys, of course. And then Goodyear just made sense, because there's like, they just stole their fucking factory. They give it back. We
Right.
can start tomorrow, and not probably not a hard process. So yeah, that's what I always look for. And kind of jump back to the first thing I said. That's why the news is so important to me right now, is because there's a lot of stuff coming at us. So what can they do in 6 months? Because the Bitcoin and crypto data center, even through the government, it might give you that little short term euphoria, but the rubber hitting the road, from what I've looked at, is so far out.
Yes. And I one thing that I I kind of tend to I like sort of quiet setups sometimes, and
Yeah.
we've talked about that, and
Twitter doesn't know.
and right, and Goodyear was a very quiet setup, right, for a long time, and then it gets this reason, and it's so much better to be in it already
Hmm.
when that shows up, and then you just have so many more options, like literally, not option contracts, but like you have so many more paths you can take for, sell some here. You might even, not with Goodyear, but with some of those, I'll average up into a move that I think is going to go a little further, and then start to to sell it off. But yeah, you want to be, when a trade gets crowded, you want to have been early, and then you can kind of look for your exit. You can sell into that move, and then we as individuals, we don't have to pump shit. I mean, we're just like, we saw this move coming. We didn't know the dynamics of exactly why and it was going to play out that way. Sometimes we do, but it's more just like, oh, okay, that's what they were doing here with this option flow, whatever, and then it's like, okay, I can start to peel some off here, and I already know how much I'm going to keep, and whatever, and that kind of leads to my question about um, volume, and a refresher on the phrase, the volume needs to stay in, because I trade some things where, I won't say they don't need volume at all, but they can be pretty low volume, and I can see the map and the move out and options, and it takes off and does that, and then you get a surge of volume around earnings, like MDB's classically like this. But when that phrase that you use, like the volume has to stay in, um, break down for us like what that means and what you look for.
Um, so volume staying in is basically, I guess, what do you want to call it? Um, I always use the Apple seller. So you need the interest to stay around the stock. Price usually
Yeah.
doesn't go up without that, unless there is some very, very big people accumulating shares, and that just looks different on a chart. When I'm in that kind of situation, I just hang out. I don't try to get back in. Um, But volume, what I look for is simple. And again, time frames matter. I pull up the day because I think it's most prevalent for what we do from a swing standpoint. You could do it on a
Yeah.
5 minute, but I'm gonna say what I say about smaller time frames in general. It's like not enough information. I do pay attention to stuff like, well, let me start. Let me jump back a little bit. So on the day chart, I have a line. You see the line on the volume, and that's basically just the average volume line, and that script's set up for me to be at a spot that if it stays in, if it hits this line, it's going to continue up because it's enough volume that they can't control. If you've watched the RTL videos, they can't control those pre-market highs and lows yesterday, highs and lows, just the previous levels that they've been making the market around the last few days. It's just too much volume. Now, whether it's buy side or sell side is a different story, and that's why I like the daily RTL levels so much, is because you're going to see it consolidate on the high level, or you're going to see it consolidate on the low level, and that's usually the
Yeah.
direction it's going to go if it doesn't turn one of those into support, resistance, support from where they're at. Um, but getting into the smaller time frames, P, if you are on the day, I always look at. Let me just go flex grid. I always look at this line right here, which I get a pre-market read every day, and then I have a 30-day average number, just the average volume. And I just kind of have like checkpoints throughout the day. That first hour, you got to be over 50%. And they're easy. Like, I don't want to, 32.9 every 6 minutes. No, we don't do that shit. Keep it easy.
Yeah.
50% after the first hour. I just like to see that high activity in the middle of the day. And that's why you get that 7:30, well, it's my time, 7:30. But an hour
Yeah.
in, maybe to 9, you get that like trend up off a level, is because they don't think they're going to make it to the end of the day with enough apples left to sell. It's that simple. So they're well, all right, well, we're going to sell them for 50 cents more, and they're
Yeah.
fine with that but they know they're going to run out. So that's why 50 is important to me after the first hour. And then like by like 9:10 my time, I want it to be 80, but I also want to know that we're going to make 100 into that push at close. Because
Right.
again, and then direction should continue, trend should continue. That's when you should zoom out. You should look for previous day levels, whether they're above you. And if you get into clean air on the 5 and the 1, that's when you are going to get a little bit of a run. But you go in that you instantly got to know where your historical levels are at, because they're going to be bus stops. That's the best way to say it, right? People are being their volume's going to be getting off and on those locations. I hope I wasn't too long-winded there. Sorry.
No, that's good, and a lot of what you mapped out there is how people lose in options, even in a trend. Is that we get that initial pop, and then it fades a little, maybe like halfway, and then kind of grinds back up. The slower part of that move, setting up for the surge or whatever, it just eats up the premiums on them, and then they barely win or lose or break even or whatever. So yeah, it's just kind of another example of you want to be positioned into that volume surge, or have trust in a level, have a level at all. All that. It just kind of, so the way that volume works around our spots is such a key to what we do. And I think as a swing trader, I guess for me the hardest part to ignore when I'm thinking big picture on a stock are the ones that, like, let's say it pops 3 or 4%, and then gives up half that kind of holds steady, and then you're sort of on to the next day, on to the next week.
So what's the
whatever.
what's the half give back, P, though? Is it a lot of volume or is it low
Yeah,
volume? Because those mean totally different things. Like if it's
Right,
pulling back and there's no volume, I'm not selling it because they're just
Right.
looking. They're looking. If you can see the sellers, I can see people just dumping shares. That's why I have the quad box. I have it right here. This down here, when I'm trading, this is just time and sales, but it's over 1,000 shares. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the little money, but if this is running red for me, I mean, I'm with them. I'll jump off because I'm gonna get another entry. But if the price is dropping and I'm getting nothing in that box, or people are buying in that box,
Right.
It's just a different story, and we have to put and sorry for cutting you off there, but I have to put the stamp on it. Each stock is going to be a little different. Learning how that stock moves, um, it's eye opening because if you get into that, it's going to be very consistent. It's going to do the same thing over and over again. And I mean, I think that's why you've traded coin and MSTR and stuff like that through the years because you can see that.
Yeah, and I can. It's. I mean, it's interesting. Like I kind of came to volume later as something I really care about. But at the same time, I was actually looking at volume. But what for me, what it was is I could just tell when the selling was getting aggressive, and that is what I was really after, was to learning to buy into. A lot of times, those are the best trades on those lately. Like buy puts into some of that selling, particularly when we're kind of in no man's land a bit. But coin, it worked really well to get it into the lower 220s, and then that was where I wanted to buy it, and that's where I did buy it, and then it kind of took back off and hasn't had the follow through. But yeah, it's worked really well as a trade. But I guess what I was seeing in the candles was volume driven without really even looking at the volume that much, and so I've kind of picked that up more over time, and just came to it indirectly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, just to touch one more thing on the volume side, definitely a great conversation. I think a lot of people start the wrong end. Like if you're trying to dissect volume on a 5 minute chart and that's where you're starting, you got no,
Yeah.
you're don't. It's backwards. It's like trying to
Right.
learn to drive a drift car first. It's
Yeah.
just not. It's not gonna work. Understanding it on I think you can get away with a day, just so you have something to do. Like it's like saying go to the gym once a week, right? That's going to be a long trip if you go to the gym and you have to wait for that candle every week to understand it. But if you do it every day, you can build some skills over 30 days. But the day
Yeah.
candle is so much more important. If you have RTL, my scripts really dumb it down for you because the backside of that is understanding like if you do get into day volume, you should also understand like I'm a volume profile guy, so I want to know like where share distribution is. I get into reading like the time and sales tape and just break it down by the shares because you can also do that on Thinkorswim, and like it becomes important. Like let's say when we're looking at QQQ here, but like when were the 625s? Were they all day?
Yeah.
Were they late in the day? You know what I mean? When were the
Right.
620s? Who? Why? Oh, someone bought them 620s in 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
I get into volume like that. And I don't suggest everyone go look at the matrix screen like that, but if you're going to be on a 5 minute chart, you need to be about that life. If you're going to sit there and try to dissect volume on that chart, why wouldn't you want to go look at the plays, like how they were ran at the time they were ran? It just gives you a little clearer
Right.
picture.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. What on QQQ and why I had it up. I've been talking about this like 620 spot. Basically, it was for the holidays, and then we're after, like immediately after, and it's like setting up into this week. And I just said like they just got some kind of. I compared it to you take a kid bowling and they don't let him get a gutter ball. They just put the guardrails up to let the ball bounce back and forth, and just they wanted it just around that spot to where everybody comes back to work, and we sort of go to work. And what I thought was it was gonna kind of take off from there. I talk about this escape velocity, like they need to really clear that, or we're just gonna keep coming back to it. And it's been the spot for the 3-2 market on the bad days. It dips below 620, by 10 or $15, whatever. Not really that big of a deal. But it and then it and then it kind of comes back. But I don't know like where this we look at where this lines up with Spy or whatever, but just sort of what you see when you keep seeing, and you look at Spy more, but like this number, it just keeps coming back, and we keep revisiting it. And even on a day we might surge 1.5%, we'll bleed out a bit, and here we are again. So what when you get a repetitive level like that, and it's all new territory up here for the most part on the larger time frames. But what do you make of that when you see that?
You and your goddamn all-time high charts. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, right, right.
Um, first thing I was gonna want to say, correct you a little bit. I look at SPY. I mean, you were right, but I look at SPY maybe like 3 times a week. But I don't look at QQQ at
than
all.
QQQ,
I
I
don't
guess.
look at QQ at all. So
Yeah, right,
I,
right. Yeah,
I do look at it a lot more, but
right.
SPY is maybe 3 times a week. Real quick, man. That's why I got the Flex Grid. That's why I got Auto RTL. It's a trend. I'm trying to get better verbiage this year. So trend stocks are going to respect the day more than the weekly, right? Because they're on a trend.
Right.
So let's be a trend stock. 50 SMA on the day. Of course, it's a big fish. And then we had an auto RTL. I'll give you a date back here. Back in October, late October, mid October, we had auto RTL at 601, which established 601 for you. Even on short term, you got 601. Nice little needle dick. Pele would love to put that in places we don't want to talk about. And then 621 is your actual volume profile for 1 year, so more share traded there. Good. The longer you're up here, or the longer you're at a level, I prefer to be. Yes, I would prefer to be at 450 here with some history above me, so I know where we're going.
Yeah.
Or have really good flow reads. I got to get over it. I really do. But then the longer you're there, the better. And I've always just handled that by the DCA. If I don't love it, rinse and repeat. You know, if it's a BBAI or something like that, or one of them fucking Bitcoin stocks, I'll just rinse and repeat. So I'm cheaper, just so I know I got a green trade out of it. Helps my mind a little bit, and then go from there. But the longer the better, and that's a skill you have to have, is being able to let the move materialize. I mean, we're watching football playoffs right now, but you can't just run in the hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're sweeping out wide, you got to let those big ass fat running back or lineman, that tackle that's pulling. You can't get out in front of him on the sweep. You got to let him hit the corner first before you turn the corner. And it's the same thing. Same thing. You just got to give yourself time for that to develop. I always say, and I try to stress in our group because it gets boring, that it's stronger now. I mean, if it's still the same price a month later, it's stronger now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when we used to, call out the levels for SPY and all that, and it was when it had that, that it reached a point where the lack of history above made that just a guess based on nothing. The downside, we could figure out where it was likely to go, but it also wasn't likely to get there just because of the way it was set up. So so yeah, I'm with you. Like we're building history up here, and it's one of those things. I mean, I guess on the option side, one of the reasons I look at QQQ so closely is it definitely shows you when you need to get out. That okay, it cleared 620, but it's stalled, so that's going to come back, and you don't want to be in stuff when it's coming back. So yeah, very good conversation.
Hey,
there.
I'm gonna say if you bought 660 SPY leaps, that shit didn't. That's not where it went. It went more, but you did fine.
Yeah, right.
When I start talking about that number, yeah, it is pulling numbers out your ass up there, and the story's a lot more complex because it's an overall market story too on them all. So more of a just to see where you are for me, just to see where you are in the market. Just like it's like a 10-year. We're just not in tradable range for them. I like when you brought up SQQ, which that's more for me, that's the signal for me when you start talking about that.
Oh yeah. No, I know. I look at it. Trust me. Yeah.
But it's more that's more just the tech thing. Couple notes. This was just in response to where we were and we got away from it. But always early is the style, P. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
You're talking about getting into stuff and then the news coming up or whatnot, and yeah, I always got to have a grandpa stock. So good year it is right now. I gotta be able to talk to the old guys about stock, and PBI is just too far gone for me. So I'm gonna dump that one out there. And
yeah.
big weekly candles this week. I don't know if you've seen that, but Fubo did it last year. It's the one that kind of stuck with me, so I was looking for it this year. So maybe I'm just hypersensitive. But it's a big ass weekly candles, um, which is kind of what we looked for. That early December selling kind of double
Yeah.
stamped that this week. Um, and again, I didn't want to say sitting on my hands. I should have read the note. It's waiting for the good 2.0 thesis and the volatility in the world right now, which is that news I was talking about. It's just there's a lot out there, a lot of moving parts. It's a little bit easier to trade when the chess pieces are not only on the board but starting to move in the right direction. Just want to know, yeah, kind of put you on the spot a little bit. Give me top two, three, five, whatever works for you. Um, Sectors or theses that you think are going to happen or that you are hopeful that will happen. Not the ones that you technically have to see right now, but just this is what I'd like, or this is what I want, or this is what I'm hoping for.
Well, I think the AI and data center trade has a big surge coming in, and they're basically. I think this is where the RZLV, which had a great week, but like might not even end up being the best one. But they're just hunting for names that do these things, that basically AI on the software side, and so that is kind of a big sector look for me. Software more generally and also specifically cybersecurity is something I definitely am looking at. And then I think energy and then finding your spots within energy. So like I think the nuclear trade has another big move brewing, and then I would say oil. Some particular approaches to oil, I think, are going to be pipelines, midstream, moving it around, all of that, and acquisition and discovery, the drill side of things too. So I'm kind of looking at that. I think conditions will loosen a bit there, and a lot of room above on some of those charts.
Nice, nice. I don't know if you ranked them that way, but I'm definitely on some of those. Um, just in a different rank if you did rank them that way. But you're not on this data center natural gas Caterpillar natural gas generator angle yet.
Well, I guess that's a aspect of the energy trade.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that when I said so, energy as applied to driving all of this,
Yeah. Yeah.
energy that we'll need for data centers,
Do you?
and then
Sorry, go ahead.
oh,
Finish.
go ahead.
No, finish. Finish.
Oh, yeah. So and then you've got utility companies too as part of that, and so there's going to be some big moves there. We saw what happened with BE. There's others that are going to do something similar, I think.
I legit, bro, just searched the stocks that said energy in the name, and alphabetically,
Yeah.
BE comes up first, right? And,
Right.
And it was on. Oh, I had a line on the chart. I mean,
Right.
that was it. That was it. And I didn't get all of that move. I bought that at $24. I was out. I
Right.
took my percent, but
Yeah.
there's nothing else to that thesis. You said utility enough now. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. I'm just going to. I've heard you say it enough times. I got some of the other stuff, but that word I don't think I've looked into enough. The question I got for you, because I'm hearing it, or I'm not hearing it, but I'm hearing the idea of it. But everyone can't have their own fucking data center, bro. Can't do it. It ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. And if it did happen, it would be a fucking nightmare, and it'd be years down the road. So who gets the one data center that's gonna be working for everybody first? And or is that just, am I crazy talking?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's the hardest part of the sector is has been kind of filtering the names, and And then my remedy to that is to find the ones that are oversold and retrace and are going to set up for whatever this next move is. And that was NBIS. And search the group on that one
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it was in the 80s, and I'm like, it's probably going to go back to 100, and then we kind of set up from there. The public sentiment is very anti data center, so you have to navigate that. As it's not as easy to put a data center in as you know a Dollar General or something,
Sure.
or another kind of we're going to open a factory. There's skepticism about the long term jobs of those places, and what they'll do to electricity costs for everybody, and that's where updating the grid, or generating their own power, or having, I mean, the ones who will make it and do the best are the ones who have it all mapped out for where their power is going to come from.
So,
And what I don't think you want is, oh well, we made a deal with the city of Boston for our power. That's not as good as like, well, we are going to have these modular reactors, or natural gas partnerships, and like, so I think that's where I would look. And I'm a big believer in natural gas. I drive a freaking natural gas car,
yeah.
um, which is somewhat unusual. So that's the best one to me. And I think that you know how I get about like Houston oil companies, and things like that. I think that the part of the country people are setting up in, you want really oil and gas friendly states, and then you kind of go from there. And so that would be, I guess, that's, I don't have a specific name, but as I map the story out, like, those are some of the keywords I look for.
I remember when dams and the crypto miners were
Yeah,
supposedly doing partnerships because of the energy angle and the cooling of the dam, right? So
right. Yeah.
that's ultimate euphoric
And,
there.
and by the way, the crypto top was when they started talking about volcanoes, and crypto
Exactly.
mining.
Exactly.
So
But you don't, just the kind of pressure like a news anchor here. You're not on the Epstein list, I know. I'm just, you don't see it like cloud services. Like, how it's just like when cloud came out, it's like, it was kind of a wild west, but there's only one or two places you go for that now.
yeah, well, I all right, so go on with that question a bit. Like, you're
Well, just
saying
like
that.
I just see the data centers, especially like the shorter term where the rubber hits the road first. There's gonna just be one or two data centers that nail it because it's just
Right.
information, right? It's literally just information, and then it's almost like Tesla. If you're there first, you're probably just gonna be better early than you are gonna be late. And I just see some of the big dogs taking it over. I don't know who. I mean, and it's probably a big name that buys four or five of these companies we're talking about. But you
Right,
really
right.
do you really see like 1,000 data centers versus you know 1, 2, 5 really good ones?
No, no, well, I think that you need a lot more data centers than what you need for um the cloud computing like you're talking about. And it's a lot more hardware intensive too. So you're just going to constantly need. I agree that the big dogs are going to cannibalize people, but you're gonna constantly need new new partnerships and new suppliers, and just a lot of that. But
Will
uh,
they be like skill specific? Like you'll have like I mean, it's like a sports one and an automotive one, and then like they feed into each other. Is that kind of like the angle? Like there'll be like you keep putting one information in that data center, and it's like an expert on that. Um, or how does it?
yeah, I mean, I think to some degree, yeah, I think that will be the case. It's it's just, and we had someone posted it about RAM and like memory,
Oh yeah.
and how you like we don't have enough companies even making that. And there's a one of them that I forget which one, but a company that hadn't been making RAM was like, okay, we're gonna make it now, and so there's I mean, particularly on the hardware and supplier side, it's for me it doesn't matter as much. I mean, yes, you get the data center built and you get it up and running, but the number of moving parts on the hardware and software side that you need to get these places even set up, that's where the big surge happens. But you know, I want to just you know, trade NBIS into all this, and then I want to just own, you know, I want to own Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay.
So that so you yes, you kind of get to that point. But I mean, I even think in you're going to see the narrative of putting data centers in space. Like,
Oh, I've
I
heard
mean,
that. Yeah, I've heard that.
yeah, that's going to move some stocks. But you know, I don't know, you know, the actual
Sell into green fat
practicality
candles.
of that of doing that. Um, but I mean, it scientifically makes some sense that you know, if you need a bunch of water, um, there's you know there's the moon sitting up there and there's water in there. So you know whatever. Like I mean, you know you can do that or put something on an asteroid or whatever. The we're a long ways from that actually happening, but that doesn't matter when it comes to moving stock. So there'll be a space stock angle too with all this stuff.
Yeah, just sell into those fat green candles.
And it just I guess before I get to the boring stuff, I mean I don't think AI bubble singular has ever been accurate. There are
Oh,
many
sure.
bubbles, right? And
Sure.
it's a trend, and the worst thing that people do is like they're looking for the big collapse, and then they wait until they get some quote confirmation of the downside, and then they try to buy puts after a stock dropped 30-40%. I mean, look at Oracle. Um, you want to short Oracle now? I mean, you know, what are you doing? It's already down from that high, and so I'd rather look for the retrace and how much of that move we get back, and you know, go from there.
Exactly. Definitely ready to get into the boring stuff. Didn't talk to you about it because we don't do much off the record stuff, right,
Yep.
Carlos? Carlos knows. He's in the morning meetings all the time. Um, Retire spy. Just just change that to more of maybe a topic this week that you see, we see.
Uh, what about Spy? I'm
Uh,
sorry, you
let's
cut out.
retire. Let's just retire spy. Let's just
Oh,
retire,
sure. Yeah.
and then maybe at the end there, just maybe talk about one topic that we see going into the week or
Okay.
something
Yeah.
after the
Sure.
boring. Perfect. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, and then the point at which we do bring Spy back, we'll have a reason.
Of
So
course. Of
yeah,
course.
yeah. All
Just
right.
low
So
low ROI, right?
yeah,
Or-
yeah.
okay.
Uh, Copper, you know, sort of expected it to be up here. I've said 5 to 7 was like my sort of idea on that. We're like halfway there. So uh, pretty strong. A lot of practical reasons for copper to be going up here, and you know, we talk about once you want to put a shovel in the ground and build all this shit. I mean, copper is really crucial to all that, and we don't have enough of it, and so that's going to be, I guess, the sourcing, just like the rare earths. Um, you know, copper is not a rare earth, but it's you know, you also need a lot more of it than those smaller ones. So looking at suppliers and mines and you know all of that, it's going to be a lot of activity in this sector for sure. Uh,
Um, I just want to use this time to tell people Unc does it too, but I bought this shit under 100 and probably sold it at 115, 130 area.
yeah, yeah,
Just want you guys to know I'm okay with that, and you gotta
yeah,
be
yeah.
okay with that too, people.
Right, right.
Happens.
Yep. Silver. I mean, what can I say? I mean, this is just unique. situation. And I still see. I don't know. I mean the silver stocks that are $25, you see flow at 30, 35, 40. So it's hard to cap what this move's going to be and what it's going to do. And if you want back in, you need a couple red days. It's given you that several times now. So there's trades there. Easy mode is over, but it's just looking to continue. I mean, if what would people at this point call it, like a collapse in silver? Like 65?
Probably 68.
Okay. There you go.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're looking at a smaller time frame. I don't know, throw the
Right.
15-minute up, I'll tell you, because ain't no one looking at anything over that.
Yeah, right.
Timing is everything. Boy, was that a good question, a good time to because I needed to make some decisions, and I was hearing some things. So,
Yeah.
man, that's literally the first commodity I've ever really nailed like that. So, love it. It's that pay. It's a story. I'm trying not to get too much into it. Just trying to manage positions and move stop losses up because,
Yeah.
at some point in time, he's got to take the dub. It ain't gonna last forever.
Right.
But it's that paper silver that is people are asking to be delivered for probably nefarious reasons.
Yeah.
Just to be a dick, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, there are places in the world right now where actually for someone to put silver in your hand is $100 or $110.
Yeah, and they're being a dick about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of because you gotta not to get too far off topic, but like the commodities are kind of how people move money around legally and illegally. It just
Right.
has always been. If you get real deep in the Epstein when he was at Bears and Stearns, supposedly he's paying people off through oil options. But the silver, there's a lot of that. You owe me money. I don't want the monetary value to change, right? Because you're not going to be able to pay me off for 1, 2, 5, 10 years, right? So I'm going to
Right.
give you this piece of paper for silver, kind of like collateral or whatever, because it's not going to change. It's not going to drop to the floor tomorrow. And the people, and that's happened like throughout. There's 40, 50 years of that. So there's just a lot of paper, a lot of IOUs out there, and
Yeah.
and the people that have it are just asking for the silver, not the paper now. Is what it seems like to me.
Right. And there's there's some people nervous about their bags of rocks in their vault that are supposed to be silver.
Yeah, them too. That's always been a thing. I mean, we were supposed to
Yeah.
audit Fort Knox as well, and that never happened. So, I mean, that's the other
Right,
side of the
right,
coin
yeah.
too. But just in the actual movement of it out there in the real world,
Yeah.
it's silver and gold, especially silver, is just a good commodity to or good collateral, not commodity. Good collateral commodity, or I don't know how else to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And all right, so then gold, boring, right? But that's still just grinding up $4,500. Pretty exceptional move here.
You probably knifed there first. You asked about the silver
Yeah.
pullback. I would
I would
think
think
this
so.
would pull
Yeah.
back first. Like if you're going to
Yes.
lose 10%,
Right.
which is nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel about the stocks? Gold, no entries, huh? Yeah. Or
No, I mean, no. It's if you want some gold exposure, I guess the combos are still,
okay.
awesome. All them. It's hard. I share positions are very, very, very difficult on it. I mean, I think you can trade some options on it. It sort of feels a little bit like when like trading into some cryptomania
Okay.
as far as the option movement goes. It's not really where I want to be, and yeah, there will be, and I think you look for some bad news, someone to have a bad day. You just call just one example up. I mean, even this one's just so far gone. This was really the the best one to accumulate over time. I was buying this under $6, and I just kept buying it, and it was painful. But I
You
just
like
felt
that?
it
You're into
at some
that.
point. At some point I'd be fine, and more than fine. I got mostly out at it was moved towards 12, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah, that's been the
put it.
toughest part of the gold and silver thesis is the the quickness of the moves and how much, and you're just not used to that in a commodity or
Yeah,
a miner
yeah,
like that.
yep.
And then one accident is bad news for them. Especially if
Right, exactly.
it's
And
an
yeah, I
American
mean, I just
company.
you look for somebody where a warlord could just take their shit, and and then they have to deal with that.
Yeah, they're good.
Um, yeah,
Or
and
gabbing.
I guess how likely is this company to hire mercenaries becomes a question, and then those are the ones you want to go after. But yeah, so it's tough, but Flow's there. I still look at it, and we'll have some things here and there. But I mean, you get a big story like that. It takes time for it to set back up and be tradable again, and that's what Quantum I think has done and will do.
Sure. I
Uh,
throw a jab there every now and again. Not to get
yeah,
sidetracked, but
yeah. I mean, you just you take your win and you revisit it, knowing that you're not going to get a win of that magnitude again, and go from there.
perfect. Perfect.
All right, and then oh yeah, natural gas. Yeah, this kind of like getting oversold here. So time to start looking pretty heavy at some of these.
Just the
This
Russia Ukraine finding peace pulling this back. That's what I'm reading through the tea leaves.
yeah, to 4 or so. Yeah,
Okay.
I think and then I think we still just settle out. I said 5 to 7. We had our first shot at 5, rejected, and then you have Venezuela. The assumption that that's bad for natural gas, but their oil. I mean, we've talked about this. It's tougher. It's harder to refine. It's not opening up Venezuela doesn't mean that everyone's going to want to rush in there. Exxon CEO was pretty clear about that. So overreaction in natural gas, that you give it any kind of reason to go back up, it'll just retrace at least half this drawdown.
Love it. There's some good entries there.
Yep. And oil, just kind of want this to stabilize. Be nice to hold 60 for a while, and getting this like a 60-70 kind of channel. But stocks are fine with it. I mean, it's not really a big deal that it's fallen this much to me. Setups in options 6-8 months out are unbothered by what's going on here.
And people don't understand that a lot of our deals we've made through the last, let's say, 30 years, America, well, maybe the last 30 years, but minus the last 10 years. So those deals that are, over 10 years old, but under 30 years old, that window, we paid a premium on a lot of shit just to make a
Yeah.
deal, and oil is one of them. So the deal
Right.
that we made with the Middle East, we were paying a premium. We weren't really getting a deal. We can get a way better deal by using our own or using stuff from countries closer to us.
Yeah.
Them dinosaur bones are cheap.
Right. Right. And let me see. Just quick check on China real quick. Yeah, consolidation here in this spot is good. You could see a pretty big surge in Chinese stocks soon. So we have some names. I don't think, I don't know. I never go full sector send as far as a trading strategy, but China looks promising. Get some names in mind and do pretty well there.
Yeah, if they weren't Chinese stocks, the sector TA would be ready. They're definitely in a holding pattern, which they're gonna any kind of news, those charts are gonna move violently.
They had lithium, so and we're just getting started here, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the lithium battery angle Still, still on that. Definitely the other side of the AI that had mentioned. I mean, anything drones, robotics, all that. The devices where the software is used, battery powered, and I think you'll see that sector continue to do pretty well. And then some of the lithium miners in general still have a lot of room left.
Yes, they
You
do.
zoom out. I mean, zoom out on this chart. I mean, come on now. Where are we going?
I yeah, nailed it.
Yeah,
I should have kept I'm gonna trade the L's a little bit. I think.
yeah,
Um, you know, just to trade them like short term swing just to keep myself in the sector. I mean, still and obviously in the big one, but um, we're 5x in that thing from where we got into it.
yep. And 10-year, uh, pretty healthy spot. So kind of where you want it, I think. It's calm. So you don't want, just be mindful. Be mindful any big moves, big surges there. I have not really seen where civil unrest is working its way into stocks at all. I think that it's yeah, look, what the chaos of the news is not really uh, making ripples in the stock market world. You can feel how you want about that. I mean, it's I just think for better or worse, they got a handle on all of it. So you know, you have to differentiate. You have to kind of keep that stuff compartmentalized. Because I sort of see a lot of people, it just they run on emotion, right? And they just like
Mm-hmm.
they think, oh, just this, war in the streets, civil war, it's all burning down. Wall Street. Just think back to Occupy Wall Street. I mean, what that to me was sort of the realization, right? I was in college, a grad student, and I was buying Apple because it fell so much. That was my thesis. That was it. Maybe one of the best 2008, like one of the better trade
Sure.
theses I ever had before I even did it was like, well, this seems stupid. It fell that much. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you got the guys on the balcony and you got the guys on the street. Guys on the street, I think, are kind of right about some of the things they say about the conditions, whatever. But it doesn't really impact the guys on the balcony that much. Um, so anyway, that domestic unrest is seemingly to me the least likely thing to move stocks. Geo- International geopolitical stuff can do it. Even then, it's short term. The oxen march forward. So that's just my vague take on all that.
Um, 413. I don't know when I said that, but man, it's been working out there on the 10 year. Just as a spot where we want to be around. Good consolidation, stability, yada yada yada. Touch a little bit on the what you're saying. If the market can remember the same thing happening before, and a lot of this stuff we're talking about that you're talking about, it has happened before.
Yeah.
Um, like Venezuela, not a big hit on the market. It was really more positive because it got done so quick. Because we've been dealing with Ukraine, and the stuff you're seeing now, we've done it 2 or 3 times over the last 5 or 6 years. So the market's already seen it. Um, it doesn't move. It's that dog analogy I talked about last week. The first time you see it, it's a rough, that wild dog you don't know what to expect. Second time, you kind of know how to handle it, and even to the point, okay, this is only going to last for 4 or 5 months, or whatever the case may be. The market knows how to look around it, and so unless we get something new, I'm 100% with you. Don't get emotionally invested and apply that to your trades because
Yeah.
it's not going to help you.
Right. Absolutely.
You need like the National Guard in the street and to shut down lockdowns. That's what you need because the market hasn't seen that. I guess it did in
Uh,
COVID a little
right.
bit, but I mean, he hasn't seen that from a civil unrest angle. But I mean, we're far from there.
Yeah, we are.
And Main Street or Wall Street is our front lawn to the world. It's got to, especially in these volatile times, we can't have a market failing. You're gonna go into a fucking Trump, and Ping are gonna sit down, and fucking he's gonna go, hey, I need you to do this, and he goes, you better do something, Trump. Your fucking market's failing. That's not how that's gonna work. Like that's not good. So it's there's a lot of benefits to a bullish market right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally with you. All right. So kept it as short as I could.
Love it.
But
No, it's good.
that's all.
You got a. I know this is a first time for everything, so
Yeah.
you got a topic you want to throw out there? If not, I got. Well, I can throw one. If not,
Oh shit. This is the first. This is historic. I forgot to talk about Bitcoin.
yeah, that's probably not a bad thing.
Right, right. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing changed here. Yeah, consolidate around 90 and we'll see what happens. But
Perfect.
yeah. So
Or you do here. I'll do one, and then you do one. So
yeah.
the ACA kind of being prevalent in the news this week. Medical stuff in general, medical adjacent, should have a decent week. I didn't get a lot of it on my list in any regard, but I am mindful of that close. So looking at like even stupid shit like the mRNA and stuff like that. Very very good week for the medical if the ACA continues to even get, not, it doesn't have to pass, but just getting the news that, hey, we're working on a 3-year deal. I do see that in the news this week.
Yes, and I think I mean you probably will see me start to bring up some of the Humanas and UNHs of the world. UNH had so much attention on it that it was not as easy of a read for me. But it's kind of quieted down a bit. So yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I think for me the retail and restaurants still very attractive given where some of those restaurants fell. I think that there's a number of them that if you've been doing the DCA thing, your head's back above water, and we go from here. So, um, yeah, I think that the aftermath of the Christmas spending and all of that, I think will be good. And then on the flip side, the neo banking and the fintech, um, the strength of the consumer, I think, is an angle I look for. And where's that money coming from, and where is it going? So, I like the fintech side. I like some of the restaurants and retail side too.
Yeah, Kava red to green over here.
Okay, there you go. There's one. Yeah.
We had a little baggy over there, but we
Yeah.
good now, long term now. You ready to work, P?
Yeah.
Perfect. Like and subscribe. Link somewhere, people.